But before I introduce Tanita, I want to go around the horn and just meet you all real quick, and then give you a few quick housekeeping items from Tempo, and then we'll get on with our meeting. This is super interactive. This is super mellow and personal and friendly. And so you can unmute. If your dog barks, just mute. It's fine. Um, so I'll go around the horn first. I just want you to say your name and where you're from and what you do. So I'm Nancy Spooner. I am from the San Diego area, and I'm a stage manager and deck manager, and I'm the founder of Tempo Live Events. And then I'll popcorn it over to Sean. You go, Sean, and then you send it to
from rainy Minneapolis, where it's 43. I am the owner, 8 years strong into Studio Duty Solutions, and love doing production things, and actually did a rebrand thing. So it'll be interesting to hear what Tanita has to say. Been in the industry going on close to 25 years and actually have a degree in stage management. So why production is in my blood. So I will popcorn it over to Carmen.
Hi, I'm Carmen. I live in Richmond, Virginia with my husband, Chad Rainey, who will be at this fair. We have a company called Q and Clarity where we cover audio, stage management, production coordination, things like that. I myself do talent miking, deck management, and all things production. Oh, and I have to toss it to Danielle.
Hi, I'm Danielle. I normally work as a PSM stage manager in the theater world, and I've just recently started pivoting to event work. I've done about 5 or 6 corporate events just in the past couple of months or so. So that's why I'm hopping on this call, just to try to get the lay of the land of this world, because I'm looking to kind of pivot into it more strongly. So I'm here.
Awesome. Thanks for coming over. I think you have one person to send it to, our new friend, Nick.
Great.
Hey, everybody. Nice to meet you all. My name is Nick. I'm based in New York. I'm a freelance event producer here, and a lot of my work is also a lot of industry conferences, and a lot of like consumer-facing brand activations. So yeah, looking to get more involved with the Tempo community.
Awesome. I was just meeting with a client who's got a lot of brand activations and was asking me if we have people that do experiential marketing and stuff like that. I was like, we actually do.
Send them my way. That's great.
Exactly.
Or send me their way.
Exactly. Yeah. So a little background on Tempo. I don't know if you guys have made it to the new member meetup, which is also the monthly call that we do for people that are new to Tempo, where we answer a lot of questions about what is Tempo and how it works. Have you guys been there? Have you seen the new member meetups? No? Okay. There'll be one next month. Danielle will publish it. I think we just put it on our calendar. We haven't published it yet.
So yes, I did go.
Okay.
Awesome.
So basically this Tempo is my side hustle. I'm an event producer, stage manager, show caller, deck manager, and then I got a lot of people work. So I started Tempo in 2008 just for fun, because I was getting a lot of my friends' work and I figured I could make a couple pennies off it. And what was once a Google spreadsheet is now a robust database with over 1,300 freelancers. And we do mostly mostly corporate shows, and we're hired by event agencies that are hired by the client. Like, HP hires August Jackson, who will then hire Tempo freelancers. Now they all have their own freelance bench, and all the freelancers at Tempo have their own freelance work. And I feel like we're just the gravy that fills in the holes when the scope changes and there's more breakout rooms than they thought, or somebody gets COVID. Like, we're the call. We've been on past few years sending out about 150 contracts a year. So it's going pretty well. Our goal is to get more contracts signed and get more clients. This is the first time in my life I've ever tried to grow Tempo. And that's why I brought in Tanita. She was doing a lot of our marketing for us and teaching us how to market ourselves better. And she takes the think tanks and watches them and then creates different posts for us to really, we're trying to get in front of our clients so that they know that you guys are all here. And we were talking not too long ago about what's going to be our next think tank. And the think tanks are for you. This is where I try to give you all the skills and the tools and resources that you need to be legit freelancers, because the laws in especially California, but New York, Illinois, and now it's actually nationwide policy that's coming that people don't the government doesn't like freelancers because we don't pay employment tax that the states want, right? So they're fighting freelancers. So if you guys, the more you look like a professional business, the safer you are, the safer I am, and then we can be in touch and enjoy the freelance lifestyle that we love so much. So each think tank that I'm bringing to you all is to better your skill set or better your business set, better your business mind. We've done think tanks on what business entity should you be? Is it an LLC or an S Corp or a C Corp? We've done think tanks on what kind of insurance you should purchase as a freelancer. And we record all of these. So if you ever want to go back and visit think tanks, we have a library full of them. We've done branding, branding yourself. We're doing today. I'll let Tanya explain more, but your self brand and your online profile, stuff like that. So that's what the think tank is for. It came out of a need during the pandemic with a happy hour. When the world shut down, I had this happy hour and it went awry. It was a happy hour where I was just drinking wine and talking to my friends at Tempo, and it became a think tank where we started talking about how to find shows, how to direct shows from home. What are we doing about battery backups? What are we doing about this thing called Unity? What is a platform? That's how the think tank was born, was out of necessity, just to help each other out. And so I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to keep helping you guys out, and this is to help each other out. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Tanita. She has a presentation, and we are open to Q&A, and stop her at any time. Put messages in the chat if you want me just to review them, whatever. Thanks for taking the time out on election day to come hang out with us. We're a good distraction.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, take it away, Tanita.
Yeah, hi, my name is Tanita. I'm the co-founder of Tenacious Digital Marketing. So we do anything that is site, social, and strategy, basically managing your digital touch points and showing up as a business or as a freelancer. And the presentation that I have is only like 5-6 slides. So actually, I'm kind of happy that it's a smaller group, because I figure as we're going through it, you guys might have questions or want to look into a specific topic, and it'll give me the chance to kind of talk through it. But essentially, the biggest question that I get asked is, what do I post? Like, how do I show up on social media? What do I do? How am I wasting my time? So I wanted to share with you guys a really easy content strategy. It's ideal if you're in like a B2B, but it's also very easy to integrate into like a B2C. And I'll share my screen and we'll just go into it. You guys can keep your mics on. I'm comfortable with chatting, however you guys are comfy.
And B2B is business to business.
Yeah.
And B2C is business to consumer. And I think we are B2B. We're businesses to other businesses.
Yes, this will be perfect. Yeah, essentially, like I said, the main question that I get served whenever I'm working with a new client or a prospect, it's, what am I doing on social media? Am I running my wheels? Is it a waste of time? Like, what should I post? And social media has really transformed over the past 4 years, especially. We kind of started out with like these really nice, elegant grids and everything being like really nice and clean, to now people are seeking more authentic. We're not really looking for the design as much as we're looking for substance. So things have definitely shifted. This content strategy is ideally something that you can basically reuse and recycle. It's the concept of it, not so much, I'm not going to be giving you content ideas as much as just the flow and where to find what you're looking for. We're going to talk about your sales flow. When I'm referring to this, I'm not talking about the whole general sales flow. I'm talking about sales flow for your digital touch points. So this means your about section on your LinkedIn. If you have posts, are you adding a specific call to action? How are you getting people from what they're seeing to the end goal, which is you want them to contact you, you want them to buy. What is that? So when we're thinking sales flow, it's from when they see that piece of content to whatever that end goal is. Your ideal target. So I'm going to share a micro targeting tactic for how to identify, track, and then basically work around a very specific target. This is better for B2B. So it works really well for partnerships. If you're looking for like podcasts, or you want to get attention of an organization that does something similar to you, you want to like use their reach and their community. this tends to work really well for that. We'll talk about the 4 buyer types. I find that this is really useful for people to give them kind of an idea of the different types of engagement that you could put out to attract a specific buyer type. And I mean, we're not computers, so use discernment. It's not all going to be like brick by brick, but it's helpful to get an idea of what type of content you could produce to attract a specific person. And then finally, all of this is going to come together into your content plan. And the idea would be to just go over, once you have your sales flow set, the ideal target and then the buyer type should cycle through to create your content plan. Does that make the flow? So this is your, I gotta move you guys a little bit. This is what I mean when I'm talking about sales flow, your setup. You want to be clear and defined. You don't want to have more than like 2 clicks from your LinkedIn about to wherever you want the person to end up. And maybe that's filling out a form. I know for Nancy, we want clients to go and fill out a form. So how many clicks and what is the action from the digital touch point, which is going to be your LinkedIn, your Instagram, your Facebook? How many clicks and how clear are you about where they're going and what you want them to do? In order for this to be successful, you want to unify your digital touch points. It helps increase brand awareness, have the same logo, have the same banners, use the same language. If you're good at writing, write blogs. If you are comfortable recording, record. Your sales flow set up for your digital touch point shouldn't be something like new and inventive. Use the things that you know you're good at. I find that a lot of clients end up getting a little worried about what they're seeing out there. They're like, okay, everybody's making 10-minute long videos. I got to do it too. You don't need to. You want to produce things that you're going to be able to express the value of your business in a way that you're comfortable doing it. So I always encourage clients to like, let's look at the backlog of what you've already done and then see what we can pull from that. Maybe you have a LinkedIn article or something that did really well. That could be something that I would add onto a link tree, right? To be like, if you want more information, here's something. Right below your top has to be, straight to how can you contact me? Make it really simple for them. Your message, you don't want to use this as in a place that you want to use necessarily like creative hashtags, like something that is super unique. And that's because you're going to end up with higher search results if you're using something that they're searching for. So you don't want to say like, I am, stage manager guru. You want to say I'm a stage manager expert because that's what people are probably searching. So I always kind of encourage people to avoid getting a little too creative in the small about sections. Use those few sentences to be really clear and speak the same language that they're speaking. Ideally, once you have this set up with all the digital touch points, it would only evolve as your brand is evolving. This should be kind of static. And the more that you could be static about it, where we're not changing it every season, the better you're going to be able to build loyalty and awareness, because they're going to be able to trust you to, I've seen this, I can trust this, I know who this person is, I know what they're providing. Not everything. Yeah.
That made me think of something.
Yeah.
When you guys have like your LinkedIn profile, you just like have a little light bulb went off. When people apply to tempo jobs, I read your cover letter first, which I always say is the most important part. Why this job? And then if you don't have a resume, which some people don't, then I go to LinkedIn and the top thing will say, like Carmen Sensky. And then it says, ambitious, all around good person. And I'm like, why doesn't it say, deck manager, expert, production coordinator? I see that so much on LinkedIn. It drives me freaking bonkers, especially when people want to link with me. And the first thing under their name is greatest kid on earth. I'm like, if you said freelance event production professional, then I'm like, I'm in, like make sure that first line says what you do, because I see it all the time with freelancers and it drives me crazy. And put the word freelance in there too, because I search on LinkedIn for freelance and I've never been one to stop y'all from working. So trust me, do that. And not just for me, but for other people that come looking for you.
Yeah,
continue.
exactly. You want to use the same language. There's space and room to be creative and to create your own hashtags, and there's plenty of like ability and opportunity to do that. But when it comes to these like static areas where you're trusting that when people land on there, you want them to know exactly what it is, and you want to speak in a language where they're going to understand it. Because if you're using terms that they might be misled or confused, or like, okay, maybe you'll have a hashtag, winner of something that is maybe small in your community, but not too recognizable. I would stick to always having the more recognizable terms in these areas. And from there, call to action. You don't always need to put in like a sales pitch. I see it all the time in those little about sections that are like, contact me if you want this. I think the better way to do it would be to either list the solutions that you're able to provide or highlight like pain points that you're able to fulfill, whatever that looks like. So if you're saying I'm the best stage manager, say, I'm good at XYZ, provide some technical terms, provide something that for somebody looking, they're going to feel a little bit more attracted to it. You don't have to go out and do that traditional like hire me, there's a lot of different ways that we could get the message across. You want to focus on the goals of the prospect, not so much your business. So it's not always what am I providing? I always kind of think of what are they looking for and how can I word it so that when they see that, they kind of self-identify. And again, limit clicks. I think this is the biggest thing. I always find people putting way too many clicks between them and wherever. I'll end up on a weird place on their website. I'll be in like some strange area where I'm like, now I have to figure out how to navigate to wherever the end goal is. We want to limit that. Don't assume that they'll understand what you're saying. Be quite direct. And then lastly, if there is some sort of instruction that you want to provide, don't dumb it down. I see also a lot of people like listing a lot of, here's the instructions to do A, B, C, and D to contact me. And it's like, have it brief, email me at blank. Keep it very brief. Once you have that set up, and as you're working through this, you'll be able to pull content pieces that support what you do. Maybe you have a testimonial where, you got a really rave review. So that's something that I would put either in a graphic, or maybe you'll have an article or some sort of piece of content where you can showcase that. When you're going through this and you're pulling these pieces, that's going to let you know kind of like where you're comfortable with what medium. Maybe you like videos. Maybe you want to attach a video to introduce yourself at the top of your digital platform. Whatever that looks like for you, just find where, because you're already going to know it. Find where you're comfortable, and maybe you want to evolve it a little bit, add a little bit to it. But most of the time, when I start working with people, they already have it. They just don't realize that they have it. They have it in some form. Sometimes it's not even something that's already public. We'll go through and talk about, oh, okay, I do this thing for my client. Maybe you'll take a piece of it and then create like a white paper, a PDF that they can download. Something that already exists with what you're doing in your workflow that you're able to basically recycle. That'll make everything easier, because then you'll be able to know which mediums are you comfortable with. And those are the ones that I would stick to when you are creating your content plan. Okay, now we're getting into like the nitty gritty. This is a micro-targeting tactic. This is really effective if you're business to business. If you're looking for partnerships, this is really good for podcasts. The strategy is the more specific you could be, the better, right? So we're thinking, let's say I want to connect with somebody at Costco. I'm like, I want to go do marketing for someone at Costco. I'm not going to go and look at Costco. Costco is a huge organization. They're probably going to have digital touch points in different varying places. I know that the way that they post on X or Threads is going to be a completely different form and conversational based than the way that they post things on LinkedIn. I also know that such a big organization, it's going to be rough for me to get in through the door. So the better way to do it is I'm going to identify the organization, and then I'm going to identify a touch point that I want to connect with. So this could mean for me, maybe San Diego's local, whoever the management is, maybe they have like a local community manager, maybe they have social media that's local, maybe there's someone that I can locate from that organization Once you have that person located, that's who you're going to go and check out. And this is where we can snoop a little bit. And I know people get like, oh, that's why it's online. We can go look at things. So don't be scared to stalk a smidge. All the platforms, there's the numbers that I have, YouTube 2.7, that's billion monthly active users. That's just to give you an idea of how many people are on these platforms. And I know people stick to the same like general four. You got YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, X is kind of dropping off a little bit. TikTok now has been real popular over the past like 2-3 years, but there's Blue Sky, Threads, Pinterest, Reddit, there's Mastodon if you're interested in a little bit more of a tech world. There's a lot of different places that you could go and check out. I always encourage people, just go see if you can find that person there. If they have a platform, maybe they're using it for social purposes, not for professional purposes, but the idea is to get an idea of how they interact online. What are they doing? Where are they spending their time?
Do you guys know who Nick Bacon is? Does anybody know Nick Bacon? Neither do I, but I follow him like a fangirl on LinkedIn, and he's in our industry. I don't even know what he does. He's a freelancer. I think he might be an event producer, but he's constantly pushing out content that I want to read, and it's just talking our language about behind the scenes in event production. So as a freelancer, I would go look at him, Nick Bacon. It's like Kevin Bacon, but different. But this kid is, I always tell him, like, you speak my love language. He's always talking about live events and freelancing or behind the scenes. I don't know. But anyways, I think everything you're saying right now reminds me of him. So there's my little, go look for Nick, follow him and see what he's doing.
Yeah, and that's really good because that gives you a sense of you're finding somebody that aligns with you, right? Ooh, and which is interesting because that next slide that we're going to go to, we're going to talk about different buyer types. You land on one of the lower, I do too, in the same way. There's different ones. I look for like storytelling. I want to connect emotionally. I'm looking for that parasocial relationship. So really kind of identifying where are they spending their time and then where are they going to fall within this group. When you're looking at posts that they're posting, right? You could go to somebody's feed and read down. You're looking for like what communities are they interacting with? Industries, trends, what hashtags are they using? Are they sharing specific podcasts, articles? Like what is the general digital content they are consuming? And this means don't neglect looking at their comments. I know on LinkedIn, you could go and see, just click on somebody's profile and see where they're reacting to and where they're commenting, not what they're posting. That's really valuable information because you could see, hey, this is encouraging, this type of content is encouraging this person to comment on it. This gives me insight if I'm trying to connect with an individual, what type of topics are more likely to not only cross their feed, but to stop them and engage them in like a real way. And obviously, as a caveat, pick things that align with you because I think it's really hard to keep up the game. Like there's a lot of rage bait out there and people kind of faking it till they make it. But if you find something where you're saying, oh, I genuinely agree with this, or I want to talk about this topic, the conversation not only runs smoother, but you're able to create a warm lead. I started out with Twitter at the beginning of when I launched my business in like 2018. I started out with Twitter with a PR group, and they would do Twitter calls when they had it, where we would all basically call in. They would do it once a week and I would show up and I would just sit there silently and like learn from them. And towards the end, I was able to build these connections because I was then able to speak on topics that I also found valuable. I built some of my best connections there. And I've been able to reach out to these people years and I've never met them in person, but building these connections through online platforms is very, very possible, especially if you're approaching it authentically.
Right. And you guys, they're a great example. There's a woman that just put in a request for contractor this week, and I met her on LinkedIn because I was following her company. Like, follow production companies, find the production companies that you've worked for before or that I follow or Nick follows, and find these companies. And I was following this woman and she's a recruiter at some production company. And I was like, I love recruiters. I love freelancers. I wasn't like, come over here and get my freelancers. Like, I just commented on her comments or whatever, so that we kind of had a relationship built up. And it wasn't fake because I truly did like what she was posting, and I, agreed with whatever she was saying or encouraged and celebrated whatever she was celebrating. And now she is a client of Tempos. So go get your clients, like go look at those agencies and congratulate them on the work they've done, or I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
No, 100%. The best way, if you don't have anything to add a value, a compliment always works.
Nice shoes.
Yeah, or if you share their content, if they're posting it online, it's safe to assume that they want to post it online and they want it to be shared. I find that if you're trying to get to talk to somebody, sharing their content, if they like it, they comment, breach that interaction, that's when you can open the door, say, hey, can we connect? Drop a DM, hey, just wanted to say I really appreciate what you did. So just kind of having like these genuine moments that you're going to find in person anyways. A lot of social media, or at least from my perspective when I work with it, it's word of mouth. It's essentially word of mouth, just faster, and bigger. So just taking these same principles and applying them. And then looking for a pattern, right? Do you have a shared mission, purpose, value? What language are they using? How are they talking about it? Do you feel the same way? And then how can you incorporate that into a post where you're tagging them, sharing their content, or interacting with them? But ideally is once you kind of like you zoom into who you're trying to connect with and being very specific about it. This is where you can move into now categorizing them into these general buyer groups to give you an idea of what type of content you can create to further engage with them. Now moving from a connection into kind of this sales place. There's 4 buyer groups. The top 2 are similar, the bottom 2 are similar. There's assertive buyers. These individuals are motivated by like social proof. They tend to kind of run on power, respect. I want kind of feed the ego a little bit more so. So they're looking for testimonials, case studies. They want to see transformation. They want to see like, what can you bring me? How is this partnership or relationship going to bring value? The way that you can interact with them would be through these types of content forms. Additionally, agitating a problem or a desire to highlight like the ability to solve it is a really good way. You don't be scared to be debatable online. I know, I feel like some people take it too far, but also kind of like playing the nice game and just kind of agreeing with everyone doesn't always get the ball moving. You want to be able to stand there and say, hey, I can help you with this, or maybe you're seeing something and you're saying, I think that there's a better way to do it. Be respectful, but also don't be scared to kind of ruffle feathers a little bit. The next buyer type, which is very similar to this, is your analytical buyers. These are people looking for logistics. I want to see the features. I want to see the return on your investment. I want to see what type of commitment. So you can showcase the benefits of your service or your product. These guys respond really well for videos where you're able to actually proof what you're doing. Essentially, it's just supportive data. A lot of this is already going to be built out within, if you have like a website, you're probably going to have a service section with all these details of the benefits. So that's where you could pull that information from. Then you have amiable buyers, which is what I think Nancy was referring to when you were talking about Nick Bacon. Yeah, so they're motivated by relationship building, community. They want to purchase or connect with businesses that they can relate and trust. It's all about trust, community, that parasocial relationship. It's about storytelling, behind the scenes, providing insight on your mission, really saying like, hey, I'm motivated to do this because I'm really invested in it at this level, and this is where we can connect. For these people, really conversation is a big driver, sharing stories, leaning into empathy, showing like emotional type of stories is really valuable for these type of buyers. This is where kind of the YouTube influencer rose from.
And I think in our case, Nick is really a peer because he's not buying us our freelancers, but I watch him sell himself to the LinkedIn world, and he does one heck of a job, right?
Yeah.
The annual buyer for me is there's an agency that I saw was going to an event I was going to, and she had a picture of her family camping. I'm a camping addict. It was so easy, and we're like fast friends now. And I'm looking forward to getting some of you guys work with them because I saw her camping post. I was like, oh my gosh, I love camping. Like that's how I interacted. That was my buyer. I could tell we had something in common that was very relatable, and she's amazing. I've already had phone calls with her, and I look forward to hopefully working with them someday. But I think that's our amiable buyer in this case. I think Nick is our peer. Watch him look at our, reach out to our clients.
He's speaking to amiable buyers.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, he's the one, he's saying like, this is where I'm attracting this type of a buyer. So yeah, which that's what he's using. He's using a lot of these back end, but it's strange because I feel like a lot of people will move through these, right? I don't think a lot of people, you might have one that sticks out a little bit more than the others. But essentially a lot of people will shift through these. I know when I purchase stuff for the business, I'm a very analytical buyer. To me, I'm not really looking for mission and purpose. I'm looking for what is it going to cost me and what is the benefit it's going to bring me. But when I'm purchasing things for myself, in some areas, I'm a very amiable buyer. I want the story. I want to feel like I'm investing into the person that I'm buying from because there's so many options. And then the last one is an expressive buyer. These are people that are motivated by ethical change. They want to see that they have an impact, right? So how are you sourcing whatever you're sourcing? Are you doing community give backs? What is the transparency behind your business process? And really letting me know that you are being ethical. So they're kind of going to fall into this. And looking back at the previous slide, when we were talking about micro-targeting, you'll see these characteristics pop up through the comments and the posts and anything else that the individual that you're trying to connect with is saying. And that'll give you an idea of like, okay, these are the type of posts that I can put out there or highlight that I value in connection. Once you kind of have this down and you have a good idea, you can move into the content planning because a lot of it is already going to be essentially built out for you. You already know what type of mediums you're comfortable with. You already have your basis for, your strong type of content pieces that are going to support your sales flow. So like I said, if you're good at writing and you have blogs, maybe continue writing. If you want to be on camera, try camera, but essentially your research from your ideal target mixed with the medium that you're comfortable with is essentially going to be your content plan. And then don't be scared to reuse ideas. When you're thinking about creating, think of like, how can I highlight my value that is correlated to the person I'm trying to connect with? What medium do you use? Wherever you're comfortable. Where do you post? Wherever they're posting. So if they're spending a lot of time on threads, and you're like, okay, I'm going to post on Facebook, that's not going to be effective. So just go to wherever they're going. I always encourage clients, even if you aren't using all of the platforms, because that's unrealistic. I think, focus on the ones that give you return, but set up handles so that you have a digital touch point on each platform. Even if it's like you put out one post that says, here's my website, a little bit about me. It still lands as a digital touch point so that if you do have somebody that you want to connect with, you can always go back to that space and you have a secure username and you can interact. So that's what do I post about? Where do I post about? It's essentially where they are, what they're talking about. And then how do you engage, interact meaningfully, and then create reactionary target focused content, which is create your content based off of what you see them doing. You don't have to necessarily like come up with something new. This is why this content strategy is really easy to integrate into anything because you don't have to sit down and like brainstorm, how can I highlight my features or user, your basically your values of whatever you're able to provide. Instead of thinking from scratch, see what they're talking about and see what you can line up and how you can add to the conversation. And then always couple posts with engagement. The algorithms do work in a very specific way. Their goal is to keep as many people on there as long as possible because they are competing with everything else out there. So the way that you do it is you want to say, hey, I'm going to be on here if you give me feedback from this person. So you want to go and engage with a piece of content that for the people that you want to connect with, post your piece of content, and then remove yourself, right? Because then what LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram is going to do is say, hey, I know you were in here trying to get connected with this person. I'm gonna push out your content to them, or I'm gonna notify you when they get a new, when they post something. I don't know if you guys have seen it on Facebook recently, has been doing, they're trying to increase their active monthly users. So they've been sending out like, Brittany commented on Katie's post. And I'm like, I haven't talked to Brittany and I don't know Katie. Why am I getting this notification? Because they're trying to reel me back in to spend more time on the platform. So use that knowledge for your own benefit. Tell the platform essentially, I will come back if I see this person because I'm only engaging with this specific channel. So this way they'll kind of work in reverse. Essentially, they should be kind of pushing things out, but this is a little bit on the back end. And then again, just add value to what they're already saying. There's no need to necessarily like recreate the wheel. And that'll kind of sum it up. It's a brief. I know we went through it. I feel like the buyer types tend to be the most interesting part. But if you guys have any questions, I know I saw the chat pop up a couple times.
It's just me and Carmen.
Oh.
She's saying thank you for calling her out. Okay, you guys, I just got a message from Nick Bacon. Thank you, Sean. He's like, Sean just told me you said my name and reached out. I'm like, I just got a new friend named Sean. Thank you, Sean.
Oh, how fun.
I thought I don't want to be that lurker connector, and I have a basic account, so own me something. I'm like, I heard of you from Nancy, and so I'm just like, well,
do it.
degrees of Nick, and so
That is, I forgot. I didn't realize he was even in our database. I'm just such a fangirl of his. I'll joke with him now. But that's what you should do, Sean. Like when you reach out to somebody, name drop. And
Yeah.
we're looking at agencies, right? And we're going to look at these production agencies, and then I'm looking for VP of production or something like that. Like I kind of try to find the company or somebody that posts something good, and I see where they work and what their role is, and then I'll name drop. If I know that Tanita knows them, I'm like, I see that you've worked for Tanita before. She's awesome. I want a link. It's just getting your face in front of these people, getting your name out there any way you can. This is gonna, put you on their radar.
Even asking that individual to say, hey, can you do like a little intro for me? I want to say hi and show some appreciation or something. Just having, definitely going through your network contacts and seeing who do they know that I know that could open that door, even if it's like somebody one-off. I always look for what commonality do they have in the network and what are they talking about? How can I kind of squeeze into the conversation?
And do you guys have websites, or just are we looking at websites or just LinkedIn profiles? Like, where do we stand right now with your digital footprint? Hey, Keith, you're hiding off the screen. I know Carmen has a website.
Well, I don't have one yet. I feel like that's all very slow going, like so many pieces. So working on the LinkedIn, working on the website, working on the resume, trying to get it all.
I've never had a website throughout my entire career, so that's very foreign, but I've been revamping my LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn is a tool I've never needed as a theatrical stage manager. So I just revisited it last week to try to make it more applicable for getting event
Smart.
work.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily need a website anymore, right? That is your website.
Yeah.
It's totally fine for a freelancer.
Oh, 100%. I think websites are really valuable if there's like a big portfolio that you want to showcase or have a
Graphics.
list of services or something like that. Websites can be really valuable for if you're trying to manage your own website. I always steer people if you want to do it on your own and you want a cheap option, Wix is really good. It's really like user friendly. I know Squarespace, majority of my clients use Wix that self-manage. If you're looking for like big websites, WordPress, and I know a lot of people like oof, and there's a bunch of drama with WordPress right now anyways, but WordPress is like for bigger websites. I think that they do a pretty good job.
Yeah. And when your service is just you, like me,
Yeah.
Well, now I have Tempo, but before Tempo, my LinkedIn was fine. I didn't need a website. But when I get graphics artists or, people that have something to showcase or videographers and such, yeah, they want to see your work. So that's a good call for a website.
Yeah, I do encourage for, I think, freelancing specifically, set up accounts on Thread. And I know X is a little iffy, but there's still people out there that will very often post, I'm looking for, if you go and search, looking for your title, right? You're gonna see people saying, hey, I'm looking for this, either drop a comment or a recommendation, or I'm looking to improve in this, drop a resource. It's threads, short form content platforms are really good for that. Reddit is a really good place for that. Reddit is also a really good place if you want to do any sort of social listening on specific topics, to go and kind of scope out what the pulse is on, behavior and how people are responding. Reddit's really good for that. But just kind of having the ability to jump around on different platforms, I think is really valuable, especially if you're running your own business, because then you could just adjust to whatever your objective is.
I can
Do you-
speak from having Wix when I started my company 8 years ago now, and it is easy to update, but I will say I was trained to like your branding should look consistent across the board. So even though I actually took the leap of using AI to help generate new logo ideas, and I found one that I liked and put it out there here in the last couple of days. So I've updated the website, and it's interesting how like, okay, I'm also in that process of slowly changing like how much do I still keep from before and that kind of, but then making sure that across Facebook, LinkedIn, and the website that I'm using similar imagery and things like that. One question I did have, more so probably the website, because I've had clients I've landed myself as my business, but I've also done project work, and I'm just wondering, so I'm working on a pitch deck thanks to Canva, which Canva Pro is the best thing ever. But it's not like the legality, but it's like I feel like I want to give credit to like I worked on a project, but I know sometimes I landed work for said company as a result of working for an agency. So it might be a can of worms I just opened, but just curious your thoughts as to like I want to kind of show my street cred, but at the same time not look at like I got all that myself, even though I might have landed it through an agency. So
I see what you're saying. I think you could say in partnership with. That's
okay.
an easy for me. If I'm like, okay, I got brought on to do a social media project with a company and then we did something bigger, I say in partnership with them so that I don't cut them out. Also, it gives people the, perspective or the idea of like, oh, I could bring you on as a contractor to send out,
Yeah.
You have to be very careful with that because of NDAs.
Yeah.
Like the company I'm working for in the sphere right now, I probably can't tell you. The production company is August Jackson, but I cannot tell you who their client is. They'll be pissed off. And I learned the
Totally.
hard way.
I respect
Right. So
those.
yeah, be really careful identifying the agency with the client.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can
so-
also say contributed to. That's also a really good, nice line where it's like, I'm not calling them out, but I contributed to a bigger name of a project by X. Yeah. Yeah.
We all like to name drop, but I want to be sensitive to what's appropriate.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you guys have any other questions about websites? Websites, I feel like it's like a whole, we've really evolved out of it with social media. You have the ability to have a presence and then, have white papers and social proof and all this other stuff everywhere else. So for websites, I always kind of recommend if you need it to showcase services and you want to highlight, it's a really good place because you do control all the language on this one space. So it's beneficial, but not necessary. It really depends on kind of where you envision yourself going. If you want to make it bigger, I would recommend starting a website even earlier. If you're thinking of like, I want to grow, I want to attract something extra, I want to add teammates or something, right? Then do it earlier because then you could evolve the website as you're evolving. Just the same way you're saying, like, I'm updating the brand, and then you can transition into that.
And I will say it's become a place out there, but it's something when I look at where do I make the most traffic is I get more traffic through other social channels. Nothing against Wix or my website. It's just there's the ability for people to contact me, but have I gotten a ton of like direct messages? I've gotten like, hey, we want to do your window cleaning. I'm like, no, that's not right. But at least it's a space. But I also learned like at the bottom, I have a footer that I update every year.
Yeah.
Copyright from the year I made it live to where I am now, so that it shows that it's current and not just some page out there in the ether. So a tip I got many years ago.
No, that's great. That's great. Yeah. I find that I end up using our website essentially as for people that don't know me. I send it to them and be like, you can learn a little bit about me. There's some other things, but my ideal client isn't on social media. So I actually don't spend a lot of time posting for my business. I spent more time networking, doing stuff like this so that I could show up in person, because the people that end up, hiring me are people that aren't using social media necessarily to this level. So it's really kind of identifying where are the people that I'm trying to connect with, where are they spending their times, and sometimes it's not on social media. But if it is, and they already are giving you information on how to talk to them, don't miss out, easy. It's like way easier than trying to think of like, how am I going to create an ad that's going to a general idea of a person rather than looking at a real person and saying, how can I talk to them?
Hey, you guys, I have to run because everyone's leaving. They close the production meeting and I'm the last one here. But if you have more questions, Tanita, you have hosting capabilities, so you can wrap it up. But I'm honored that you guys showed up on election day to come be let Tempo be your distraction and learn. This was really good, Tanita. And Tanita does all of our marketing at Tempo. So it's really fun to watch her brain work. And we've been together for, I don't know, has it been a year?
Yeah, no, almost like 6 to 9
months?
months. We're still in that field, but yeah, no, it's been really fun.
And it's been really fun to watch what she does grow Tempo's. Like I get comments on how Tempo's now being seen a little bit differently in the media, at least on LinkedIn. Having said that, if you guys want to go look at her work and what she's done for us, it's the blog posts, share them. That's going to give you credibility. Like and comment on our LinkedIn posts. And this isn't just for me, because me getting more work means you're getting more work. That's the beauty, I think, of this relationship, is when Tempo grows, there's more opportunity for work for you all. So feel free to follow Tempo stuff, go dig into our website. She started blogging with us, which has been so much fun. Anyway, so go snoop around and see what she can do, and maybe she can help you personally. If not, just follow along what she's doing here, and feel free to use me as a way to get more work on your own, even without me, but through me. You know what I mean? There's two ways. You can get it because you found somebody through me, or because I posted it and you applied and you got it. I'm game. There's enough work for everybody. So go get them. It was super nice to meet you guys. I hope
You
to see
too.
you again. Tanita, this is all yours. I'm going to get out of here.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can share the slides. I'll definitely drop something to share the slides with you guys. Maybe I'll have